Sonic the Hedgehog made almost 60 million in opening weekend, and it's on its way to being a huge hit. And as a hardcore Sonic fan, there were so many Easter eggs that I saw in this movie that I truly felt like they were respecting me as a Sonic fan while also giving us a brand new story, something refreshing that hadn't been done before. So I want to go ahead and give my top 10 favorite Easter eggs from Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Now, there will be some spoilers here for the Sonic the Hedgehog film, so if you have not seen the movie, this is going to contain spoilers, so please make sure you see the film and then come back. And if you're a hardcore Sonic fan, I'm sure that you will appreciate a lot of these Easter eggs. So first of all, let's go to the end, the mid-credit scene with Tails. This was a great scene. One quick little Easter egg about the voice acting is that this movie did not have a cameo by Jaleel White, the original voice of Sonic the Hedgehog from the old cartoons, but it did have some very interesting Easter eggs when it comes to voice actors. For example, this guy right here on your screen is actually the voice of Grounder from the old Adventures cartoon, and he also voices Robotnik in Sonic Underground. His name is Gary Chalk, but the voice of Tails himself is once again played by Colleen O'Shaughnessy. Now, Colleen O'Shaughnessy started voicing Tails in 2014 and once again reprises the role in this film, although she is uncredited. Now, speaking about that mid-credit scene, Tails is holding some kind of device. Now, this device looks remarkably like a smaller version of a device that Tails used in the video games, specifically Sonic Unleashed, called the Miles Electric. Could this factor in with the sequel? I'm sure we'll find out. Now, number 2 on our list takes us to the Sonic & Knuckles video game. The world that Dr. Robotnik was stranded on at the end of the Sonic movie, and the one that Sonic keeps talking about throughout the film as this world of mushrooms, is the Mushroom Hill Zone, the very first zone in the Sonic & Knuckles game from all the way back in Genesis. Does this mean that we'll see Knuckles appear in the sequel? It seems very, very likely. Now, speaking of zones, there was also a scene in the movie where Sonic's on top of this road sign that says Hilltop Road. That is, of course, a tribute to Hilltop Zone, another classic Sonic level from the past. Number 4 also takes us all the way back to the past. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was the animated series that kind of began this sort of connection between Sonic the Hedgehog and chili dogs, with that being his favorite food. Well, in this movie, Sonic does mention chili dogs, which put a big smile on my face because that old cartoon show took a lot of ideas from Sonic 2 and things like that, but the fact that after a while that kind of became sort of, part of the canon, specifically with Sonic and the Black Knight from 2009, I love that Sonic still loves chili dogs even in the movie world. Number 5, the end of the movie where Sonic goes up against Robotnik, the move he does where he bounces left and right and just hits him with all different directions, that was clearly from the old Sonic Spinball games. Sonic Spinball was a spin-off title that was on Sega Genesis that basically has 4 gigantic levels, giant pinball machines, so to speak, and you have to play as Sonic and use not only him, but also the pinball planks to get him through level. It's a really, really fun game, but very, very hard, and I saw that as being a direct inspiration from that game. Number 6, various different scenes were taken from Smash Brothers, whether it be promotional material or whether it be just overall Sonic moves. Now, Sonic has been a major part of the Smash Brothers franchise since he first got in, and I can't even list all the different Easter eggs from that because it's its own video almost, but I'm going to go ahead and just clump them into one. Sonic and the love that he's gotten in Smash Brothers comes in at number 6. Number 7, Sonic referring to Dr. Robotnik as Eggman. For those who don't know, Dr. Robotnik was a name that Sega of America had come up with, and Eggman is Dr. Robotnik's original Japanese name. Of course, they're going to call him Dr. Robotnik because, it is an American-made movie, and many Western fans recognize that as being his canon name, but his original Japanese name was indeed Eggman. So the fact that Sonic referred to him as that not once but twice in the film, to me, is great. And I love the fact that at the end of the movie, he became Eggman. He got the mustache, he got the bald head. He started to look less like Jim Carrey and more like Eggman from the video games. To me, it's almost like a loose origin story for the movieverse, and I look forward to seeing where they go in the sequels with this new sort of finalized version of Eggman. Number 8 is a bit of a deep cut for Sonic fans. The bandana that Sonic wears in the film has the logo on there that kind of is the surrounding, I guess, the outside sort of portion of the Sonic the Hedgehog logo, not just from Sonic 1, but also from Sonic 2. Now, I did not catch this when I first saw the movie, but I was told it was in the trailers, but after seeing the film again, it was easier to spot. And I love the fact they have that there because it is the living embodiment of what an Easter egg actually is. And to me, when they have stuff like this that you don't catch the first time viewing it, that's what truly makes it a real Easter egg. So I got to give them props for that. It might be small, but it has a whole lot of meaning for those who have played Sonic from the very beginning. Number 9, the race car bed. I could not believe this one. Sonic has the race car bed in this film, which is the same race car bed. Well, maybe not the exact same one, but is heavily inspired by the race car bed that Sonic had in the Archie comics. I could not believe it when I saw it. And it's funny to me because race car beds are a thing of the 90s. I really don't see race car beds anymore. I'm sure people out there have them, but race car beds is something that kids had all the time back in the 90s, and it's just not something we see nowadays. And this movie does take place in 2020, but the Sonic video game and the Sonic comics were done, many, many years ago when these things were still kind of an appropriate sort of common thing. So seeing that in the film, somebody who produced this film, who helped make this movie, obviously really wanted to put in a deep cut, and this is a real deep cut, that race car bed. Number 10 to me has a lot of deep cuts, multiple Easter eggs combined into one, and that is the map of the different realms. I do believe that in the sequel we're going to see more of these realms, but there are so many Easter eggs just inside of this map. We have basically references to other zones. We have references to previous Sonic games. We've even got stuff where you're seeing the Sega Saturn logo, like so many different things. You also have the sun, which is basically taken from concept art that was never even used in the original Sonic game. That little smiling sun, the ballroom, which is the bonus stages, just, so many different things. The Chaos Emerald, the Super Emerald, that is, Angel Island, just so many things from the world of Sonic that I'm really hoping we see in future films, or just having it in here to me is enough. But wait, I'm not done. One more. The echidnas. At the beginning of the movie, did you notice that there was the tribe of echidnas that were basically, going after the owl and whatnot? Now, some have said that the owl is a throwback to the owl from the OVA, but I'm not really sure if that's the case because the owls really don't resemble each other. But the Echidna clan essentially seems to be, without question, a reference to the Knuckles tribe from Sonic Adventure and also other Sonic games of the past. Now, there is a direct tie-in with the Sonic Adventure games and the old games between Knuckles and the Knuckles tribe, obviously, but I am unsure if the movie verse is going to have that tie-in, but it does seem likely that there's going to be some kind of connection in one of the sequel films between Knuckles the Echidna and the Knuckles tribe. But they didn't actually use the term Knuckles here, so one may easily surmise that for this film universe, there's not going to be a direct connection, but it could also be a spoiler, or not a spoiler, that's the wrong term, but a teaser, that is, foreshadowing, so to speak, for the eventual appearance of Knuckles and his backstory if they choose to make multiple Sonic sequels, or even just one, with Knuckles being a centerpiece of the movie. I think it's way too coincidental that they showed up in this film, and I think there will be some kind of connection between them and Knuckles going forward whenever the sequel for this movie does eventually come out. Now, speaking of Knuckles, some folks have wondered if maybe Sonic wearing the cowboy hat is supposed to be, a tribute or an homage or an Easter egg to Knuckles having the cowboy hat in the old Sonic the Hedgehog animated film, the old anime movie from the 90s, and I think that's a bit of a stretch, to be honest with you. There is a saloon stage in Sonic Mania, so maybe there's something there. There may have been some loose inspiration for that, but I'm not going to make it one of my big I'm going to mention it here, but it's not one of the big ones that I think is worth talking about here. But hey, I talked about it, so I guess it is worth talking about. I don't think it's done on purpose. However, I leave that to you to think maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Everyone has their own opinion. Please leave a comment. Let me know if there's any Easter eggs from the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that you think I may have missed. I mean, I've only seen the movie a couple times, so it's a very fast movie, no pun intended. So if I missed something and some other hardcore Sonic fan finds it, please leave a comment. And also leave a comment, tell me what your favorite Easter egg was. Overall, I'm still very happy that the movie was so well received and is so much better than we thought, because we all thought a year ago this would be a disaster, and it actually turned out to be a pretty fun movie, honestly, and that's the best we could hope for. Thank you again for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, you know the whole thing, and we'll talk soon.